Bonjour tout le monde, bienvenue. Hello everyone, welcome. It's another episode of Learn French with Madame. Aujourd'hui, on va parler au sujet de la nourriture. So today we're going to talk about food. We are in le deuxième livre, the second book, chapitre 3, vocabulaire 1. So this is the second book, the third chapter, vocab 1, talking about things that you might find in a recipe, such as peppers, flour, eggs, all that fun stuff. And we're going to learn some phrases on how to describe recipes or ask what is in a specific recipe. Okay, donc on va continuer, or on va commencer. So before I start, I just want to say that I'm going to put a link in the video description for a pear deck if you would like to follow along with it. That way you can draw on your screen and complete some of the activities. It's not necessary though. You can just do it on paper if you want. But if you want to do it with the link, I'll put that in the video description. Okay, on y va. So let's go. En premier, first off, we have l'abricot. L'abricot. Okay, I say it, you say it, and then I'll reveal the picture. So I say it first, l'abricot. Now you say it. Excellent. That is an apricot, or however you want to say in English, apricot. Doesn't matter. L'abricot, l'abricot. Okay, deuxième mot de vocabulaire, lie, lie. Kind of like if you tell a lie in English, lie. Okay, I say it, you say it, and then the picture, lie. Excellent. Garlic, lie. OK, troisième mot de vocabulaire, c'est un verbe. This is a verb. Ajouter, ajouter. OK, en la classe de mathématiques, on ajoute beaucoup de numéros ou beaucoup de chiffres. So in math class, we add a lot of numbers. So ajouter is the verb to add. When you say j'ajoute, it means I add. Nous ajoutons, we add, etc. OK, I say it, you say it, and then we'll move on to our next word. Ajouter. Excellent. Okay, so here are a couple of like review questions for you. You can fill them out either online or if you want to do it on a sheet of paper, that's totally fine too. Okay, est-ce que c'est vrai ou faux? L'abricot equals apricot or apricot. However you want to say it. L'abricot. So, dis-moi, tell me, est-ce que c'est vrai ou faux? Oui, c'est vrai. Excellent. Oui, c'est vrai. OK, traduisez. So translate to add, mais en français. Translate to add en français. C'est le verbe ajouter. Ajouter. Excellent. Okay, on continue. I'll give you about 30 seconds. If you want a little bit more time, you can pause the video to draw me a picture that represents lie. Okay, draw me a picture that represents lie. I'll give you about 30 seconds starting now. All right, you've got about 10 seconds left to draw. Okay, we should have drawn a picture that represents the word garlic. Garlic. Lie is garlic. Okay, nouveau mot de vocabulaire, l'aubergine. L'aubergine. Okay, I say it, you say it, and then we'll show the picture. L'aubergine. Excellent. It's an eggplant. Eggplant. Je n'aime pas les aubergines. I do not like eggplant. No merci. No thanks. Okay, la banane, facile. We should have learned this back in French 2 or maybe even French 1. La banane, facile, banana. Okay, I say it, you say it, and then we'll move on. So I say it, la banane. À ton tour, your turn. Excellent. Okay, ça c'est un verbe. Bouillir, bouillir is a verb. Bouillir. What other verb do you think we might use with food and cooking? Hopefully we said boil. So bouillir is to boil. Bouillir, to boil. Okay, I say it and you say it, and then we'll move on to our next word. La prochaine mot de vocabulaire. Okay, mon tour, my turn, bouillir. Ton tour, your turn. Excellent. OK, traduisez, translate, to boil, mais en français. Translate to boil, but in French, mais en français. Bouillir, très bien. OK, est-ce que c'est vrai ou faux? L'aubergine égale eggplant. L'aubergine égale eggplant. L'aubergine égale eggplant. Vrai ou faux? Vrai ou faux? C'est vrai. Excellent, c'est vrai. Dessiner ce mot de vocabulaire. So draw this vocab word. I'll give you another 30 seconds. You can pause the video if you need a little bit more time. Dessiner ce mot de vocabulaire. La banane. OK? Commence maintenant. Start now. All right, got about 5 seconds. 5 seconds. Okay, we should have drawn something to represent a banana. Okay, le brocoli, facile. Le brocoli, it looks almost like the English word. What do we think le brocoli might be? Broccoli. Excellent, le brocoli. Okay, I say it, you say it, et puis prochain mot de vocabulaire. So I say it first, le brocoli. À ton tour, your turn. Excellent, très bien. La carotte, aussi facile, also a little bit easy. La carotte, carrot, excellent, facile. La carotte. Okay, I say it, you say it, et on continue. So I say it first, la carotte. À ton tour, your turn. Excellent, la carotte. La cerise, la cerise. So la cerise, cherry. La cerise, cherry. I know that's picture's a little bit confusing because there's two cherries in there, but la cerise is just one cherry, and we know to make that plural, we say les cerises. Got to change our article, okay? I say it, you say it, and then we'll move on to a little review question. So I say it first, la cerise. Now you say it. Excellent. Très bien. Okay. Match these terms to those pictures on the right. Match these terms to those pictures on the right. You can pause the video if you need some time, but I'll give you about 10 seconds to do it. And you can pause me if you need a little bit more time to match those pictures. Okay. So I'll give you about 10 seconds starting now. Okay, so that broccoli we should have put in the bottom right. La carotte is in the top right. Cerise, bottom left. Aubergine in the middle. And I in the top left. Excellent. OK, le champignon. Le champignon. Moi, je n'aime pas les champignons. I do not like mushrooms. Les champignons. Les champignons. Je n'aime pas les champignons. Je n'aime pas le champignon. I don't like any mushrooms. I don't like one mushroom. Je n'aime pas tous les champignons. I don't like all mushrooms. Okay? So I say it and you say it. Le champignon. Now your turn. Excellent. Le champignon. Très bien. La courgette. La courgette. La courgette. Okay? I say it, you say it. La courgette. Excellent, excellent. La courgette, zucchini. Zucchini. Moi, ça dépend. For me, it depends. La courgette, j'aime de temps en temps. I like from time to time. La courgette. Est-ce que tu aimes les courgettes? Oui ou non? Maybe you said yes, maybe you said no if you liked zucchini. I'll never know unless you tell me in the comments. La cuisinière, la cuisinière. So we know that cuisine is kitchen and cuisiner is the verb to cook. And so cuisinière is your stove, your stove. La cuisinière is your stove. Stove. So that top part of the picture with all the little knobs, the burners. That's your stove part. So la cuisinière. Okay, I say it, you say it. La cuisinière. Now you say it. Excellent. OK, on continue. Traduisez pour moi. Translate for me. Mushroom. Translate mushroom. Mushroom. Or we should have said le champignon or a variation of that if you said les champignons. Either one. So le champignon or les champignons. Okay, I'll give you a couple of seconds again to draw me a picture that represents this word. You can pause if you need a little bit more time. La cuisinière. La cuisinière. Okay, draw me a picture in a couple of seconds to represent that word. La cuisinière. Okay, allez, let's go. All right, we should have drawn something that represents a stove. Something that represents a stove. La cuisinière. Okay, traduisez zucchini en français. Translate that into French for me. Zucchini en français. All right, we should have said la courgette. La courgette. Très bien. Okay, couper, c'est un verbe. Couper, couper. Couper is the verb to cut. Couper, to cut. Okay, I say it, you say it, and then on continue. I say it first. Couper, you say it. Excellent, facile. So far our verbs that we've learned are ajouter, bouillir, and couper. So we've learned to add, to boil, and to cut. Okay. Une cuillère à café. Une cuillère à café. Une cuillère à café. We should remember that une cuillère is a spoon and café is coffee. So une cuillère à café doesn't translate exactly, but this is talking about a teaspoon. So in English we say teaspoon, but in French it's more like a coffee spoon. So une cuillère à café is our smaller spoon when we're measuring things. So our smaller spoon, our teaspoon. Une cuillère à café. Okay, I'll say it and then you say it and we'll move on. So une cuillère à café. Ton tour, your turn. Excellent. Okay, à la contraire, une cuillère à soupe. Une cuillère à soupe. So now we have the bigger version of our last one. The bigger version of our last one. Une cuillère à soupe. And if you're following along with the link that I put in the description, you can choose an option. So we should have chosen, or we should have thought about it being a tablespoon. So in English, this is more like a soup spoon if you translate it directly, une cuillère à soupe. But we mean it when we're measuring things and we're following recipes, we mean like a tablespoon. Une cuillère à soupe. Okay, on continue. Traduisez, translate for me the verb to cut. Traduisez, s'il te plaît, le verbe to cut, mais en français, but in French. All right, we should have said couper. Couper. Excellent. Les épices. Les épices. So we use these to make things taste a little bit better. We season them with spices. Les épices. Les épices. I say it, you say it, and then we'll move on to our next word, but we're going to revisit it here pretty soon and do a little bit of a review. Okay, I say it first. Les épices. Now you say it. Excellent. Très bien. La farine, la farine. We need this often when we're baking and when we're breading things, like when we make like a crust for things. So la farine is flour. La farine, flour. La farine. I say it, and you say it, and then we're going to go on to our next one. La farine. Ton tour, your turn. Excellent, la farine. Faire cuire, faire cuire, faire cuire. That one's a little bit hard to say that last word. A trick for this is if you can say biscuit with that qui sound, biscuit, you can say cuire. So like biscuit, cuire. Okay, I say it and then you say it. Make sure you really focus on that last word, faire cuire. Excellent, and this means to cook. So we've also known that cuisiner is the verb to cook, but when we're talking about recipes, you'll see this often. So you won't really use cuisiner in recipes, but you'll see this pop up often in recipe books that are in French. Faire cuire. Okay, so let's move on to our next one, le four. So we've already seen la cuisinière. Now this is the bottom part of it. Le four is your oven, So the big part where you put all your pans and everything. Le four. Okay? I'll say it and then you say it and then we'll move on to our next one. Le four. À ton tour, your turn. Excellent, très bien. OK? Est-ce que c'est vrai ou faux? Faire cuire égale to cut. Est-ce que c'est vrai ou faux? Faire cuire égale to cut. Vrai ou faux? C'est faux. That's false. Couper is the verb to cut, and faire cuire means to cook. Okay? Dessiner ce mot. I'll give you about a couple seconds. You can pause it if you need to draw me a picture that represents le four. Okay, I'll give you a couple of seconds. You can pause the video if you need a little bit more time to draw that word, le four. All right, we should have drawn something that represents an oven. I'll have to look back at your pictures and what you drew. An oven. Le four, oven. Okay, traduisez, translate, flour. En français. Traduisez en français, s'il te plaît. Flour. La farine. Excellent. La farine. Très bien. Les fraises. Les fraises. We're almost done for this video. I know it's a lot of vocab, but I'm trying to keep it down to just 2 videos. So, les fraises. Les fraises. On mange les fraises dans l'été, in summer. Les fraises. Strawberries. Les fraises. Okay, I'll say the word and then you say the word and then say this one more time and then we'll move on to our next one. Les fraises. Okay, now you say it. Excellent. Say it one more time. Très bien. Okay, les framboises. So we just did les fraises, which were strawberries. Les framboises are another type of berry. Raspberries. Les framboises. Raspberries. Les framboises. Okay, I'll say it, you say it, and then we'll go on to our next one. Les framboises. Now you say it. Très bien. Okay, les haricots verts. Les haricots verts. It's kind of a long word. Les haricots verts. Remember that H is silent, so it's not haricot vert, but haricot vert. Like you're starting with the A. Les haricots verts. So, les haricots verts are green beans. Les haricots verts, green beans. Moi, j'aime bien les haricots verts. I love green beans. Je ne sais pas pourquoi. I don't know why. Mais j'adore les haricots verts, but I love them. All right, I'll say it, you say it, and then we'll move on to our next word. Les haricots verts. Now your turn. Très bien. Okay, match those terms on the left to those pictures on the right. Match those terms on the left, those pictures on the right. Les haricots verts, les fraises, le four, la farine, and les épices. Okay, I'll give you a couple of seconds to match those pictures on the right, and you can pause it if you need a little bit more time. All right. Les haricots verts should have gone with the green beans. Les fraises in the bottom right with the strawberries. Le four in the middle with the oven. La farine, bottom left with the flour. And les épices in the top right with our spices. Okay? Drag your dot if you're following along online, or if you can just write it down if you're on paper. Les framboises sont bonnes. If you agree or disagree. Les framboises sont bonnes. Tell me whether or not you agree or disagree. Just out of curiosity. So I asked you, raspberries are good. Raspberries are good. You had to drag your dot or tell me whether or not you agreed or disagreed that raspberries were good. Hopefully we all like raspberries. They can be a little sour though. Okay, l'huile d'olive. So it's kind of a little tongue twister when you say it really fast. L'huile d'olive. Lots of L sounds in there. L'huile d'olive. So l'huile d'olive is olive oil. L'huile d'olive, olive oil. So how do you think we would just say oil? L'huile, excellent. L'huile. And then olive for olive. L'huile d'olive, olive oil. Okay, I say it, you say it, and then on continue. Then we'll continue. I say it first. L'huile d'olive. Now you say it. Excellent. OK? La laitue ou la salade, c'est la même chose. It's the same thing. La laitue is lettuce and la salade, salad. So la laitue, la salade. You might see either one in a recipe. La laitue more, I think you would see more in a recipe for lettuce. And then la salade you would see most definitely on menus. So la laitue and la salade. Let's just say that first word because we've already learned la salade back in French too when we had our food unit there. So we're going to just say that first word, la laitue. Okay, now you say it. Excellent. Mélanger, un autre verbe, another verb, mélanger, mélanger. Mélanger is the verb to mix, okay? So you might see in a recipe, they say mélange les ingrédients, mix the ingredients, or they might say mélange la laitue et l'huile d'olive, mix the lettuce and the olive oil, par exemple, for example. So mélanger. I'll say it and then you say it and we'll move on. Mélanger. Now you say it. Excellent. Très bien. OK? Est-ce que c'est vrai ou faux? La laitue égale lettuce. La laitue égale lettuce. C'est vrai ou faux? Is this true or false? Vrai ou faux? C'est vrai. Excellent. C'est vrai. La laitue is lettuce. Traduisez. L'huile d'olive. Tell me what that is in English. L'huile d'olive. Olive oil. Très bien. Olive oil. L'oignon. 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 Okay. Onion. L'oignon. L'oignon is onion. L'oignon. Okay. I'll say it, you say it, and then we'll move on. It's kind of a fun word to say. L'oignon. Excellent. La pastèque. La pastèque. On adore manger la pastèque pendant l'été. On adore manger la pastèque pendant l'été. So we love eating watermelon in the summer. On mange la pastèque pendant l'été. La pastèque. Okay, I'll say it, you say it, and then we'll move on. La pastèque. Très bien. Okay, le melon. There is a debate with this word amongst my French 3, 4, 5 class. Le melon. I guess people call this a different thing in English. So le melon. It looks like an English word, melon. But the picture that I have up here is a cantaloupe melon. And I guess some people just call it a melon, that there's not like a specific word for different types of melon. Because, right, there's a honeydew melon, which is green, and then there's a cantaloupe melon, which is the one in the picture, which is a little bit more orange. So I think the honeydew, the green one, is a little bit more bitter, and then the cantaloupe melon in the picture is a little bit sweeter. So if you want, leave me a comment and tell me whether you call it a honeydew melon or a cantaloupe, or whether or not you just call them both a melon. They are both melons, so either way you're right. But I'm just curious which side of the line you fall on. My class is pretty divided amongst this. Le melon. Le melon. Okay? Donc, oh, traduisez. Oh, let's see if we can do this. Madame forgot to change the slide. I'm very hungry. May I please have some toast and eggs for breakfast? If you want to give that one a shot, you're welcome to, but I'm going to skip past it because, uh-oh, I forgot to change the slide. So we're going to skip past it. Okay, so match those terms. Match those terms. L'oignon, le melon, l'huile d'olive, faire cuire, and la farine. Match those terms on the left to those pictures on the right. Match those terms on the left to those pictures on the right. All right, I'll give you a couple of seconds. You can pause it if you need a little bit more time too. All right. So our first word, l'oignon, we should have picked our onion, le melon, in the bottom left with our cantaloupe or our melon, whichever one you call it in English. L'huile d'olive is in the center, our olive oil, faire cuire in the top right with to cook, and then la farine in the bottom right with flour. Okay? Dessiner ce mot. I'll give you a couple of seconds and you can pause if you need a little bit more time to dessiner ce mot, to draw this word, la pastèque. La pastèque. What do you think la pastèque is? Draw me a picture that represents that word. All right, we should have drawn something that represents a watermelon. A watermelon. La pastèque, watermelon. Okay, so that is it for today's video. I know there was a lot of words that I threw at you, so in our next video, we'll do a little bit of review before we start talking about our next words. Mais c'est tout pour aujourd'hui. Bon appétit if this video made you a little bit hungry like it made me hungry. Enjoy your meal. Et c'est tout et à plus.